Hey, what's up guys, Marco here, welcome back to another lesson. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of the most popular rhythmic techniques on the guitar. It's called the thumb slap technique. Now I'm sure you probably know how to use it, as many guitar players kind of figure out how to approach it, but there are a lot of beginners who really struggle to get it right. And so I really want to break it down and show you how you can get the most effective thumb slap technique. We call it thumb slap because it's a technique performed with the thumb. We strike the strings with the side of the thumb so that they snap against the fretboard. Now there are three rules you want to follow to get the best slap sound. The first one, strike the strings with the side of the thumb and not with the front. So I'm using the left side of the thumb. Rule number two, always strike the string linked to the bass note. And what I mean by that is, if we play a G major chord and the bass note is on the low E string fret number 3, this is the string you want to slap. If you play another chord such as a C major chord where the root note is on the A string fret number 3, you want to strike the A string. Rule number 3, keep the movement natural. It's okay if you miss a few slaps, just try to play everything as evenly as possible and don't stress too much about the way you're striking the strings. Now the primary purpose of the thumb slap is to reproduce the sound of a snare drum, which is, by the way, the most important part of a drum. Usually the snare drum plays the second and the fourth count of a song, which are the two counts that are responsible for the groove. Now, the very first two chords we're gonna practice are the G major and the B minor chord. And this sounds like this. So I have the first chord on the low E string fret number 3 and the B string open, and I pluck with thumb and index, and I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I have the thumb slap twice on 2 and 4, and I pick the chord on the first count and on the second offbeat. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The second chord is B minor. I'm playing the A string fret 2 and the B string fret number 3. And I do the same thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Back to the G. To the B and the A. So the A major is very simple. I just play the B string fret number 2 and the A string open. And you want to play the same picking pattern with the same thumb slap strum. Now the cool thing about the thumb slap is that we can add a simple melody along with this awesome technique, and so we can play something like this. So I have a beautiful G major 7 chord, which is the same one that I use at the beginning of the instrumental. Just the low E string fret 3 and the top E string fret number 2, and I have the melody going like this. Just the low E string and the top E string, and then the thumb slap on the second count. B string open, and the E string open, and the E string fret number 2. So you have the bass note one more time. So you have thumb slap, B string, bass, E string open, and the thumb slap again, and the top E string, fret number 2 again. So bass again, B string, the low E string, and the E string open. So when you put the whole thing together, slowly, the thumb slap is always on the 2nd and 4th count. And we're going to do the same on the B minor chord. And the A. So you have the B minor on the A string fret 2 and the B string fret number 3. Pluck it together, thumb slap, the B string, the bass, and the E string open. So thumb slap, and the A major. So the B string fret 2 with the A string open, thumb slap, the fret number 3, bass note, the E string open, and the thumb slap. So, and we start again. It's a beautiful melody, quite simple to play, I should say, in terms of notes, but it can be quite difficult to get it at the beginning because of the thumb slap. So really take it step by step. Now the cool thing is, once you get the rhythm right and the pattern right, you can use it on a different chord progression. In fact, we're going to change the chords and play the same rhythm pattern, but with a different chord progression. So it sounds like this. So we have a D major chord. So we're playing the D string open and the E string fret number 2. And if you want, you can also hammer the fret number 2. And then you have the thumb slap. This time is on the D string, okay? So it's going to be less loud. The B string fret 3, bass note, and the E string open again. So thumb slap on the 4th count. And then we go again. So the E string fret number 2, bass, and the B string fret number 3. Thumb slap, and the E string open. So and the last thumb slap on the count 4. Then we change chord and we have So we have another beautiful G major 7 chord, which we're gonna play like this: low E string fret 3 and the top E string fret 2. Simultaneously, thumb slap, the B string fret number 3, bass note, and the E string open, and the thumb slap. Now we have. So we're gonna pick 2 strings here. The bass note with the thumb and the B and the E string fret number 3 simultaneously, and then the E string fret number 2 simultaneously with the B string fret number 3. Thumb slap, the B string fret number 3, the E string open, and then we have the thumb slap again. Bass note, E string open, and the thumb slap. So when you put it together, now we have the B minor chord. It's the same rhythmic pattern, the same thumb slap. Just the 2 notes, the A string and the E string fret number 2. Thumb slap, the B string fret number 3, bass note, and the E string open, and the thumb slap. Then we go back to the E string fret number 2, and the bass again. So. And and then the thumb slap, the B string fret number 3, and the E string open, and the last thumb slap. And the last chord. Very simple, just the A major chord on the B string fret number 2, and we pluck simultaneously the A string open, thumb slap, the B string fret number 3, B string fret number 3, the bass, and the E string open, and the thumb slap. We're gonna repeat that twice. And we'll go back to the D. Now you can finish this exercise with the same intro. So that's it, guys. This is how you perform the thumb slap technique. Now this is a quite practical lesson, and you really want to take it step by step with the melody. You can use this technique on any kind of chord progression that you already know. Just make sure that you kind of understand the 3 rules and you follow these 3 rules so that you can get the best slap sound, okay? Now I'm gonna leave you to practice this, and let me know if you like the lesson, and I'll see you next time for another tutorial.